when it comes to my videos and these little fireside chats, I'd like to say what a friend said about them, about one of them, not too long ago. I sent his brother, who's also a friend, a voice memo. It was my review for a video game, Horizon 2, Forbidden West. Spoiler free, but I wanted to convey just how much I liked that game and how good it was. How surprised I was at how good it was. So I related it to McDonald's and called it the ultimate McDonald's experience. Anyway, apparently they were driving somewhere, and my friend put it on for his brother. He's like, "Is that Jesse?" He's like, "Yeah," and he hears it going. He hears me talking for a bit and arches his eyebrow, and my friend Chris goes, "Just go with it." He'll get there. It's worth it. Thank you, Chris, by the way, for that shining endorsement. I might have to post that review at some point as well. I would like it to have some visual components, so that's the only thing that's kind of holding that up. But anyway, when it comes to my videos, fireside chats, yeah, there you go. Just go with it. He'll get there. Hell, you might even want to just skip. If you don't want to cock your eyebrow and go, what? Just skip down a bit. And hey, if you like what you're getting into, you can always go back to the beginning. It'll be like a prequel. But I wanted to talk about living in the moment. That's a fine idea. And it can be done. But it's, in my experience, not like how it's touted. And in my experience, the way that it's prescribed by gurus and pop psychology self-help types who get all "this is the way" about it. Well, I don't want to come off as a pompous asshole, but I'd like to quote, I forget his name, but the curly-headed doctor from the show Scrubs. Very famous line. Wrong! Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. Now, why do I say something so dichotomous and so absolute? For only the Sith deal in absolutes. And I will do what I must. I don't want to say so much that it's wrong necessarily. I just want to say that it's the way that it's touted. Fuck, plane. There it goes. The way that it's often touted is more of a means for what I would call dissociation, and in a way that's not helpful. To make a slight addendum, there are uses of dissociation that could be very helpful, circa the young to live by techniques, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as a way of avoiding what's in the present moment and in your body, and thus preventing you from being in there in the first place, and what's in one's unconscious mind as well. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh, fuck me, Scarecrow. It's getting dark in here. We'll come back to that. But yeah, I'd say one guru in particular very, very calmly suggests the problem, that the solution to all that ails you, all these very complex systems, is the power of now. And yeah, by those methods, if you know what I'm talking about, yeah, you can achieve an accidental, brief glimpse. That's probably more dissociative than anything else. That could seem very nice. But if you're avoiding all the things that are in the body, in the unconscious, and all those languages and the feelings and everything else, it's not going to last. It's just not meant to, in my opinion. Not to mention everything that you're trying to avoid with this method, unknowingly, in the unconscious, in the body, is not going to like it. And they're going to start running amok, try to get your attention. So it's a good idea to learn what they're trying to say too. And I think I've equated this sort of thing analogously to the ocean, the unconscious being like the ocean, in that you can't control the ocean, but you can learn a lot about it. And you can learn how to sail in it. You can learn how to scuba dive in it. You can learn how to swim in it. You can learn how to fucking jet ski. But you can't rigidly iron will it. And if you do, splash, wave, crash, kaboom, ocean laughs at you. And then might just say, okay, now get up and try again. And don't be such an asshole this time. Don't you dare try to control me. That's not what this is about. I'm here to teach you. You are in no place to be teaching me. Yeah. But anyway, back to the task at hand. And what I call a more, organic version of being in the moment is a byproduct. Ta-da! A byproduct of the Environomicon. I'll get into, and I'm sorry to say there's just no way to simplify or overly simplify any of this stuff. And as a side effect of my own genomic expression, if you will, and doing the work, which is something that never stops. But that's not a bad thing. All right, and I'm assuming there are people out there who dread the idea of doing it. Well, I guess you have a more functionally dysfunctional coping mechanism than I ever did, because doing the work was the only thing that ever gave me relief. And it took a lot of years and a lot of trial and error to find parts and pieces to that puzzle scattered everywhere. And Jesus, cultivating the discernment too. It's kind of been like escaping a multi-tiered prison system in hell. In my case, there are many contributing factors, and this is a bit more of an extreme situation, so I don't want to freak anybody out. But yeah, so being in the moment. Okay, great. Yeah, you can do some meditation exercises and all that, and that's very good, very healthy and all that. But, I mean, to really do it in an organic way, you've got to figure out how to defrag the system, which is going to take a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. But it's incrementally rewarding. It's not like just labor and labor and labor. Like, maybe it's gonna be good tomorrow? Is it? Oh, God. I mean, unless you're really going through like some dark night of the soul type thing, no, it's not gonna be. And even that might be partly due to the wrong kind of information. And by wrong, I mean it's not in harmony with or synchronized with your underlying natural systems that are kind of crying out to be tapped into and expressed and integrated and allowed to. Because a lot of this is automatic. You know, there's people who live almost exclusively in fantasy and dissociation as a synthetic ego state, and they're so dissociated. And by some that I've known personally, and then they'll have their bouts of anxiety, of course, and they're desperately trying to get away from that. Well, the things that they perceive, as fucked up as it is, in bouts of anxiety, it's like, are you telling me that the closest thing you have to an interface with like a more functional system of reality is your anxiety? Jesus. That's not a judgment, and like that's a compassion thing. You know, we're not talking about things that are common knowledge, unfortunately, or readily available for the most part. And most of the systems at large that are touted and vindicated are not so good. But they will patch you up and stick you back in hell. So there you go. You feel better now? You go ahead and get back to work, please. And shut the fuck up. And they pat you on the head, give you a little kiss on the cheek. It's okay, thank you, doctor. Busy work, usually, too, mind you. Well, I won't get into any of that. Not right now. It's my understanding that just about any kind of advice floating around out there that relies on some kind of iron willpower to force yourself, to part yourself into anything, is actually very abusive. And it causes a whole host of symptoms which are not so good. As an aside, and back to another little thread I was talking about there, I've known some people who's are so dissociated and in such a fictional state, and it's not a good one either. It's usually with a very dystopian worldview, very nihilistic. Kind of have to venerate and excuse like reckless hedonism at the expense of others and oneself. Anyway, they're so dissociated that the closest thing they experience to their conscience is what comes out in depressive episodes. Ah! What a nightmare. And that's no good, because that's just as dysfunctional of input and information and deciphering of reality. Because that's what we get. We get a series of oculuses, oculi, oculuses or oculi, something like that, to perceive, interact with, and kind of create isn't the right word. More like interface with reality. Because no one is ever really perceiving reality as it is. And, we're probably not built for that. Is anything? There's this little creepy insect crawling by right now. and I guarantee you it doesn't perceive reality as it is, and its interfaces are woefully different than my own. But its interfaces are what's best for it and its genomic expression. Terence Mckenna had a great, well, he has a bunch of great lectures, but one of them, he had said something to the effect of, let me see. I'm going to paraphrase because I don't, remember it in verbatim, and link it a little more to what I've been talking about here, but generally getting the idea across.
When I was on mushrooms, not quite the full hero's journey dose. I wasn't holding on to the floor. But I had this idea that I was playing with and noticing that we have all these very nihilistic and self-hating references for ourselves and humanity, all coming from these mechanistic ways of looking at ourselves, as if we don't belong. And the way we refer to nature is also as if we don't belong, as if some detached observer, a synthetic being, marveling at and trying to control something more complex. But I wonder what if Gaia essentially had gotten to a point where it needed to manifest an avatar of itself to know itself and take care of itself. But we either haven't learned the blueprints for that yet, or we've forgotten them.
Yeah. I think that's it for now. Thanks for tuning in.